Good morning and welcome to a lovely morning all the way from Tauranga. This morning, we have got a very interesting subject. We're talking to a renting agent because that's one of the first things you would do as a person from a different country, either South Africa or wherever you come from, to get a roof over your head. Most people need to rent. So this morning, we're talking to Marilinda. Marilinda, good morning.
Good morning, Jan. Good morning, everyone.
Marilinda hails from as an ex-South African, hailing all the way from Worcester. You've been a while in New Zealand now.
Yes, 14 years. Yeah, I came over when I was 19. Oh. Yeah, seems like ages.
And we have talked Afrikaans this morning, so I promise you she hasn't lost her Afrikaans yet. So,
not yet.
Marilinda, looking at the renting market, it's sometimes a very strange place, or sometimes even a daunting place to look at for new people.
Very much so. Yes, absolutely. Especially in the market that we're in at the moment, Jan, because there's so few rentals really available. So people do get overwhelmed and scared about the whole process. But if you streamline your process, you should be okay.
Why is there so little rentals available?
I think there's two factors involved here. Not enough housing, unfortunately. And obviously with COVID, there's no materials, so buildings are taking a lot longer. And then also with the Residential Tenancies Act, that's changed so much. A lot of landlords are moving away from renting, unfortunately. But we're hoping that this will change soon as well.
And we basically need that to change, because there's a lot of people that are streaming into this area and can't find houses at all.
Absolutely. And as a property management association, we are trying to work on getting a few of the legislations changed. But it is obviously a slow process. And obviously the government's trying to create healthy, safe homes for people. But it puts a lot of pressure on landlords.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say good morning to a few people saying good morning on one of our other channels that we can't put up the banner. Say good morning, Benita. It's quite interesting, the rental market. The rental market, I started also off renting for a start in New Zealand. And the first thing I asked the agent, so I'm not going to name the agent, but the first thing I asked the agent that day is, are they going to sell the house? Because that's what I've heard, that people are in a house not for long and then they sell the house. And I was promised, no, this house will never be sold, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. About 11 months down the line, they sell the house.
Yeah, I know. And it's, as much as it's frustrating to you, it's frustrating to your property manager as well, because we can't predict the future, unfortunately. Circumstances do change. So we try and mitigate it as much as possible. But unfortunately, it's just part of, renting in New Zealand. There's always that chance that your property might be sold.
Oh, yeah. And I just want to say we've got your feed is slightly a bit off, but that's fine with us. She comes from Pukahina this morning, and if you guys don't know where that is, that's between Tauranga and Whakatane, but you are mainly a rental agent in Tauranga.
Yeah, so we cover mostly Tauranga, but we also cover areas like Rotorua, Omakaroa. So really, we can branch out to wherever you need it. We always try and help.
Okay.
Yeah, those are our two main areas.
I first got to say thanks a lot for all the South Africans I've always shoved your side to get a house from. So yeah, it's been a good experience for me and for the people that goes to see you. So at the end of the day, so big thing. What must people remember when they come to rent a house in New Zealand?
So it's really different from renting in South Africa. We have an online system. Everything gets done online. So what you need to do is you need to create your own tenancy portal. From there, this is where you're going to apply for all your different properties. So you fill out as much detail as possible. You have to populate every field. The more information you can give us, the stronger your case will be for renting a property. So I guess that's step one, is creating your online tenancy profile. And then make sure that you read the full description of the property. If you have a pet and it says no pets, there's no point in applying because unfortunately we won't be able to allow your pet there. So make sure you read the description. Make sure the dates coincide with your dates, because again, if you're 1 week out, that landlord will not choose you.
Quick question on the pet side. While we've crossed that boundary now,
very big issue in New Zealand. Please go ahead.
it's a massive issue. It's a deal breaker for about everybody.
So many people. And again, if you have a pet, please be aware that you will pay a premium price. So any properties that you see that's non-pet friendly, if you see a pet friendly one, it will probably be $20 to $30 more, just because it is a premium. You will find a pet lease agreement if you have any pets, and that will just cover the landlord for any damage your pet causes. You will be liable. You will also have to get the carpets professionally cleaned.
That's the question from my side. How often do you see houses that have been ruined by pets?
Not very often. Not very often.
Okay.
But it's not something that I control. As much as I push my landlords to allow pets, it's just not something that most people are comfortable with.
Yeah, but that I fully understand. Yeah, and that's a landlord's onus. If he doesn't want pets, he doesn't want pets. So
exactly.
And the problem is, we as South Africans, we love big pets. And we've got massive dogs and cats and stuff. So yeah.
I mean,
what else?
Some landlords have pets, and I myself am a pet owner, so I know the frustration that comes with it.
So what else must South Africans look out for when coming to rent in New Zealand?
So again, coming back to the online side of things, once you've applied for a property and you're sure that that's the property that you're going to, it ticks all your boxes, you will be asked to register on a viewing tracker app. This is where you will be invited to the viewing. And if you confirm, please do turn up, because if you are a no-show, there's no chance, because at the end of the day, that shows us that you're not committed. And it puts a red flag into our minds. And then when you show up to the viewing, treat it as an interview. Dress smartly, arrive on time, know where you're going, and after the viewing, follow up with a message. Hey, I'm interested in the property. How do I proceed?
Okay. Based on what you just now said, people can't rent from South Africa, and that is half and half a bit of an issue.
It's not impossible to rent from South Africa. I myself try and help where I can. I do video call viewings where I will walk you through the property. I will send you viewings or a video walkthrough on either Facebook or WhatsApp. It's just working with the right property manager, because I know a lot of property managers won't do that because it is time consuming. But being in Africa, I obviously do like to help where I can, as much as I can. So it's not impossible, but you just need to say that you are renting from South Africa. Alternatively, if you know anybody that can come to the viewing for you, we're more than welcome to invite them over.
Okay. The big thing is deposits.
Absolutely. So when you prepare to come to New Zealand, you have to realize that once you sign for a property, you have to pay 4 weeks equivalent of the rent for your bond. Now, your bond will be lodged with the bond center, and at the end of the tenancy, you will receive this back if everything is okay with the property. But over and above that, you also need to pay 2 weeks rent upfront. So it is a big chunk of money. It's up to $3,500. So please do work that into your planning for when you come over.
Oh yeah. And what is the average rent currently in Tauranga, let's say, for a 3-bedroom house?
Well, if you're looking at Papamoa, it's about 730. Yeah, it's quite high at the moment. And again, it's supply and demand. There's not enough supply, and the demand is high, so the landlords are getting premium rents at the moment. Yeah.
Let me get this. So you say about 730 times 6. That gives me 4,380 dollars, not rands, dollars.
Yeah,
That's about
absolutely.
45,000 rand just to put down to move into a house.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to budget, plan for when you are coming around to New Zealand. Unfortunately, you will not get keys handed over to you before the bond 2 weeks rent is paid full in full. There's just no way. So
And that's going to be wherever you are. If you rent in Auckland or Whangarei or in Invercargill, it's very much the same all over.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, absolutely. Where you're going, you're going to have to pay up front. Yes. The other thing that I do want to touch. Yeah, sure, go.
Sorry. What should you include in your renter's CV? This coming from Jan Badenhorst.
Thanks, Leon. So it's really important that everybody above the age of 18 complete their own separate application. We do credit, background, and reference checks. So as much information as you can include. If you have your passport number, please make sure that it's correct. Obviously, if you're coming from South Africa, you won't have a New Zealand driver's license yet. But if you're in New Zealand, please make sure that you include this information. It has changed slightly where as property managers, we're quite limited to what we can ask for in terms of what job do you do. So if you can include as much information on your application, it's going to up your chances of getting the property, because we can't ask, for example, what job do you do? So if you put all that information in there already, you're just ticking our boxes. You're making our jobs easier. If for some reason you've got a little bit of bad credit, if you're in New Zealand, please be upfront with us. Let us know so it doesn't come as a shock. If you have a pet, again, put that on. Please do not hide your pets from us. We will find them. And obviously, if you're a smoker or a non-smoker, just the basic stuff. There is a area on the application where you need to supply proof that you can pay the rent, so a pay slip. That's always handy. And there is also a box where you can type any additional comments. So as much information as possible, please.
All right. This is all online, so you don't need to do a physical CV.
No, not at all anymore.
There was a question on one of our other channels that asked, is there a sample for renter CV? So renter CV is not really needed.
Not really. So we use a platform called TPS, and every single advert with the property will have the link for you to apply. So it's all there.
Another question that popped up: do you have to show you have employment or a certain amount of money to show ability to pay rent? Coming from Benita.
Benita, it's a hard one. Again, we can't ask where you're employed, but if you provide us with that information, then it certainly helps your case, because we go back to the owner and present you. Like I said, like an interview process. We present as much facts as we can. So if we know that you are employed, then obviously we can go back to the landlord and supply them with that information. We will never share any personal information, where you work, your income is, but we will tell them that you are employed.
Okay. This is a remark that somebody had. I had to include 3 months bank statements to one agent.
Yes, yeah. Unfortunately, the property management sector isn't regulated at the moment, like with the sales side. So different property agents will ask you for different things. And unfortunately, sometimes if it's your dream home or you just need a house, the more information that they ask for, the better.
Okay. And there's somebody that will need your assistance. I need assistance with rent in Tauranga. I don't know who this is. He hasn't registered, but he'll probably pop up on one of the feeds. So I'll just drop your details there for him or her.
Yeah, no worries.
So what else can you tell us about renting in New Zealand? What should people coming over watch out for?
There's not so much that you need to watch out for. If you just look on Trade Me, there shouldn't be much chance for you to be scammed out of money. I did actually read an article last night about somebody in Australia that got scammed out of her full bond and full rent. But it's really that will happen in New Zealand. If you are worried, then you're more than welcome to, touch base with the property agent directly, or even go into the office to sign your contract before you pay over. I think one of the biggest things, Jan, is when you come over, you're not really thinking about, it's called tenants insurance, and accidents do happen. So I would highly recommend looking into some tenancy insurance just to cover yourself. I've had multiple tenants that, flooded the bathroom, and as a tenant, you are liable for the excess of the owner's insurance. Even if it's accidental damage, you are liable to pay for that. So if you have some sort of cover yourself, that would be highly helpful.
There's a good question here. Leon, again, asking, any tips to stand out from other renters apart from not being a smoker or pet owner?
Leon, I think if you show up to your viewing, or call if you're still in South Africa, I can't make the viewing, but I'm really interested. If you make sure all of the information that you supplied is true and correct, if we don't have to chase you for any more information, you're going to be standout to us anyway, because you need to realize that we deal sometimes with up to 25 applicants for one property. So the more people we have to chase and follow up and wait for information, it's just going to become too much hard work for us, because your competition will have everything sorted. So the easier it is for us, stand out.
This is an interesting one. Can we rent a farm or a rural property?
You can, but they are as scarce as chicken teeth. So if you find, grab it.
And stick to that, because you aren't going to find another one. So, yeah. I just want to say something about rural properties. Guys and girls, this is not South Africa.
No.
You are going to be the worker on the rural property. And they don't call it a lifestyle, they call it a life sentence.
Exactly. Absolutely. And the thing with that is, it's a hard one, because obviously if you're wanting rural and you're wanting all the cows, the chickens, the sheep, if your tenancy ends, you are stuck with those animals, and the likelihood of you finding another rural property is very, very limited. So please really think carefully about that.
Yeah.
Now, Jan, you just touched on something there, managing your expectation with the rural property. But I think managing your expectation with property in New Zealand is really big. If you're coming, for example, from South Africa, we like our big furniture, our rooms are big, our beds are big. Will not fit in your rental property. I can tell you now, your grandmother's settee that you've inherited, they will not fit in the lounges here. So please do manage your expectations when you're coming to New Zealand. It is becoming far more compact. You have, sometimes 130 square meter house on a 200 square meter section. So manage your expectation. And again, also, you will be your cleaner, you will be your gardener. So manage your expectations around that as well. Really important. Well, just quickly on this one, when you move into a property in New Zealand, your previous tenants only reasonably need to clean the property. So please be aware that there might be a little bit of dust. You might have to do a quick clean before you move in. The tenancy law states that it needs to be reasonably clean and tidy. So just think about that.
This is a good question. And I think this is probably the question of the morning. Neil Smith asking, what's up with the pictures on online property ads? Some photos look completely fake or photoshopped. And really, that is so. You look at the pictures on Trade Me and you go into the house and you see it's totally different. They spread this massive room out and it's this size when you walk in, or a long room, but it looks really big on the photos.
It's the magic of photography. And this is why it's really important to viewing. It's more than likely, if you say to us, you want to proceed with your application without viewing, you're so interested, you love the property, we want you to look, because what you will see online is obviously we're trying to make the property really pretty, light, and for the most part, some photos are true to the representation of the property, but you will find that put up photos that make it look fantastic, your dream home. So please turn up to the viewings.
Yeah, because your dream home could look like a dream home, but it could sit right next to hell.
It's like the reality side of things, it's the same thing. Yeah.
So got a question on the other side saying, Caroline asking, is it really that difficult to get a rental property when you have pets? Can we set up a pet CV? Will that help if there's a pet friendly place?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you can send us as much details about your pet, size, breed, age, send us a photo of your pet. We will present all of that to the owner. And again, you will sign up with a pet lease agreement, and you will have some responsibilities around making sure that the carpets are clean, flea bombed when you vacate.
All right. Quick different question from, so I have to move out of my one property to no fault of mine. Let's say the owner is selling the house. I'm just taking the best case scenario here. And I have to move into a new property, which is from, let's say, a total different rental agent. So I have to put down another roughly 45,000 Rand or $4,500. What about the first rental portion that's still lying with the rental tribunal? Can that just be pulled over or not?
Absolutely. So your bond will be lodged with the bond center, as I mentioned. So when you move to a different property, please just ask your new agent for a bond transfer form. You will sign it as soon as your old property manager has done your vacating inspection and everything is fine. She will or sign it, and then you provide it back to your new agent. And the bond center, they don't release the money; they just transfer it from A to B.
Okay.
But the money doesn't go anywhere else.
All right. I actually, when we moved from Papamoa to Welcome Bay, in your new rental, we rented from a private person, and they refused to accept that, and we had to pay it upfront and then claim it back. So
that's unfortunate. And again, look, I'm always here to answer any questions. I've got a Facebook page set up, so just flick me a message if there's anything that you need help around. I'm happy to help anybody, because it is a tricky system to navigate. As a tenant, you don't know what the right way and what the wrong way is. So happy to answer any questions.
Here's an interesting one. Do you still get rent to buy options?
No, not really. They're very scarce, unless it's a private arrangement with a private landlord. Obviously, it's our bread and butter, so we want to keep our rental portfolio as high as we can. But I've not heard of a rent to buy in ages.
I actually heard about one or two of those. But at the end of the day, when the push came to shove to buy the property, they just backed out and said, "Nah, they're going to stick to renting it out." So, but they had these people with high expectations, paying a bit of a higher premium actually for this house.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a really tricky area to navigate. So make sure all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted, and you've got your lawyer involved.
That's the question I see popping up from the other side. Pets again. Pets is a touchy subject this morning. Is it better to bring your cats, or is it better to bring your dog?
It really is a 50-50. Okay. Cats have no more leniency than dogs.
Okay. Then, this is an interesting question. I don't know if it's really up your alley, but you probably would be able to help with this. Okay. How would you, as a newcomer, know what areas are good? Price, location, and schools?
Yeah, so especially with schooling, it is zoned in New Zealand. So if you want a particular school, there is a website that you can go on to see which areas have schools zoned and from there, I guess you can make your decision.
That's
Look,
right.
I think if you're coming to New Zealand from anywhere, it's really safe. Every suburb will have their good and their bad. But for the most part, it is good and it is safe and it is beautiful. So it's just about driving around in the area if you can. If you can't, just join the every area has a Facebook page, buy, sell, swap. So if you just join a few Facebook pages, you'll soon have a feel for the area.
All right. What we did when we arrived from South Africa is we rented Airbnb place for 46 days.
Yeah.
And that gave us a good idea of where we wanted to live and what areas. I would say not a major good idea, but we had a better idea than just coming in blindly from the site. So
yeah, I think again, it really comes down to managing your expectation. Properties are very hard to come by, and if there's a particular area that you want to be in, you might not find a rental, or you might pay even higher for the specific area.
that's
So
right.
just manage expectation.
Yeah. And that's the first big thing that South Africans, the shocker that they get is paying rental by week.
Or getting paid weekly.
But it's one thing you got to get used to. You got to get used to this.
Absolutely. And hey, it works. It works.
It works.
Yeah. Just something else to is we obviously inspect properties. So you will have a inspection 4 weeks after you move in, and from there it's every 3 months. So your property manager will let you know about a week to 2 weeks before you have an inspection. And I myself personally attach a checklist of what I'm checking for. And please do note that we will take photos of a few things in the house, including the waste traps, the showers, stuff like that, just for insurance purposes as well. So please don't be offended if we do take a photo. It's just usually for insurance purposes.
Yeah, I know something about the South Africans. If they hear there's an inspection coming up, they are cleaning those houses like crazy.
Look, I have agents that really love South African tenants because there's a high standard. So that's already a standout for you guys.
So it's probably a good thing to say you are from South Africa on your CV somewhere.
Absolutely, that's a big check.
Yeah, Marilinda, it was lovely to have you this morning. I think I'm just going to switch out of the picture and just greet the people. Just hang in there. I want to talk to you afterwards again.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone. Right. Opportunity.
All right. Thanks a lot. Guys, that was Marilinda, rental agent in Tauranga, Rotorua, Omakoroa, and a few smaller suburbs around the area. I will post her details a bit later for you all. If you are coming to Tauranga, it's probably a good idea to get hold of somebody like her. So that's us. Next week, same time, same place. See you all.